atrocities that they committed against China and Korea, saying that Japanese people are racist towards Koreans and Chinese and that the Japanese troops did a lot of evil stuff against them. But nowadays, Japan's economy has been on the decline and that Korea is actually passing Japan right now. Saying that the country that Japan is the most racist to is now doing better than Japan. But now they're a country in which no one seems to care about anymore, basically saying that England falls. Then he said that it's good that people speak English because if you speak Japanese and Konnichiwa minasan, kyo desu. So recently there have been a huge controversy about a certain music artist. We're going to get into it, but before that guys, we are close to 200,000 subscribers, so if you haven't already, like the video and subscribe to the channel. The 1975 is an extremely popular rock alternative band, even now having a lot of sold out shows in Japan. But one of the band's members, Matthew Healy, has gotten a lot of controversy and Japanese fans are demanding an apology. He was recently on a podcast called The Adam Freeland Show, where him and the host of the show were making a lot of jokes about various topics, including women's periods. But later in the show, they talked about Japan for about 5 minutes. Keep in mind that I haven't seen the actual footage of this conversation, so I'm guessing they're doing a lot of dark humor since in Western cultures, it's kind of like popular to not make fun, but joke about very serious topics. So in me not seeing the footage, I don't know in what kind of atmosphere these guys were talking in, whether it was supposed to be really funny, or maybe they did end up being serious and actually these are actual statements that they actually believe. Either way, before I continue, I think context matters, so I'm not too sure in the attitude in which these were being said. However, we're gonna dissect what they said right now. First thing he mentions is the Logan Paul situation, saying that Japan deserved it because of the atrocities that they committed against China and Korea, saying that Japanese people are racist towards Koreans and Chinese and that the Japanese troops did a lot of evil stuff against them. Also citing Japan's alliance with Nazi Germany during World War II. Saying a comment that is along the lines of, I wonder if Japanese did an exchange program working for the Nazis in the Jewish concentration camps. Then he proceeded to do an imitation of a Japanese speaking English, then proceeding to make fun of Japanese culture of taking shoes off indoors, saying that the soldiers in World War II, when they were going to collect dead bodies, probably took off their shoes before entering the house. I know, really offensive stuff. Also mentioning that Japan makes some of the greatest rock music and also has a lot of very much a sexual culture, but at the same time it's very repressed. Then basically stating that in the 1980s, Japan was on top of the world economic-wise, but nowadays Japan's economy has been on the decline and that Korea is actually passing Japan right now. Saying that the country that Japan is the most racist to is now doing better than Japan. Then Matthew proceeds to compare Japan to England, saying that England used to be on top of the world, where they used to go out and do against people, but now they're a country in which no one seems to care about anymore, basically saying that England fell from former glory. Then he said that it's good that people speak English because if you speak Japanese in any other culture, you're basically a terrible person. And this is like a back and forth conversation, so it's Matthew the host. Then he compares to Kobe Bryant, who his name is very much a Japanese sounding name because Kobe is also a city in Japan, and Kobe Bryant had a very bad allegation of his death. So he's basically saying Japan and Kobe Bryant are kind of like the same. And that's pretty much all that was said in this conversation. Now I'm going to give my 2 cents on the matter. Like I said earlier, I'm pretty sure this is more so a very humorous conversation that these guys are having. I'm assuming that this was done in good faith because in Western culture, comedy is very subjective. And a lot of people do make fun of very serious subject matter. But because I haven't seen the video, I don't know how much of this they actually believe or how much of this is just comedy. But either way, I can definitely understand why the Japanese would be pissed at him because a lot of the things that were said is very offensive. Now, a lot of people have been calling for Matthew to be canceled, but I don't really think that's the right answer. I don't believe in cancel culture. I think people should be allowed to say what they want. Because how can we come to truth unless we dissect what people are saying? But if people aren't allowed to say certain things, and it's not giving an opportunity for people to learn or for people to see what not to do. I think people should dissect what he's saying and not necessarily cancel him, but kind of just go through what he said and kind of debunk or challenge the worldview of what was said, if that makes any sense. And one thing that I try to do is not to get outraged by things that may be offensive to what I believe or my country or my culture, because I don't want to appear emotionally stable in which I can't handle that there is going to be people who are going to say some egregious things about me or where I'm from. I don't think it's wrong for Japanese to kind of be like, this is very offensive and we don't like this. Could you not do this, or can you apologize? Because even though it may not have been intentional for him to harm the Japanese, the effect is still there. Even if me personally, I believe something is not wrong, if it causes my friend to stumble, or if it's something that offends someone close to me or someone that I care about, out of courtesy for that person, I'm not going to do it anymore, or just apologize on their behalf. For example, Edita-san, my Japanese friend who helps me run this channel, because we come from two different cultures, there are some things that I like that, I don't see as wrong, but because he does, I will apologize to him, because if it offends him, I don't mean to offend him, even if I personally believe that it's okay. Now, on the flip side, I think if Matthew really cares about his Japanese audience, he would understand where they're coming from and apologize for his actions, and even just say, I wasn't trying to be intentionally mean. We were just having a good time. Because I also believe if you want to live in harmony with other people, you kind of gotta respect or understand where people are, and not everything that you agree with, someone else is going to see the same way. And again, it doesn't mean what you did necessarily was wrong or bad, but if it does offend someone else, I think you should apologize or cater to their needs. I think Japanese people should give out their opinions and say, hey, Matthew, we were offended by this. We would appreciate if you apologize, but I don't think that Japan or the Japanese should try to cancel this guy. I don't think that's the solution. I think this is a perfect opportunity for Japanese to address his comments and give the truth about certain things. Like, hey, not all Japanese people are racist, and not all Japanese people hate Koreans. And that there's also probably a lot of equal hate that China and Korea has given to Japanese people. So it's not completely one-sided. Me personally, even though I do like crude jokes and very dark humor, the comments that he said are not things that I would say. But I think that's also because I love Japan a lot, and me personally, I'm not saying I got offended for the Japanese, but I'm just reading those comments, I'm like, man, that's a bit too much. So ultimately, my final statement is that if Matthew cares about his Japanese audience, I think he should apologize, just because that's where the Japanese are. And even if you believe he didn't do anything wrong, if you truly care about somebody, you would understand their feelings or not make them feel offended by anything. But please, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. Also hit that bell as well to get notified whenever we post a video. Honto, arigatou gozaimasu. Minna, 気をつけて。じゃあね。